real quick, just so you can see the title on the ScatterBrothers channel. 11:57, but actually it's 12:19 p.m. now. 5:11. Is it actually the 12th? Oh yeah, it is the 12th. And this is the first TTYL for Doctor Strange 2 on YouTube. That's called Multiverse of Madness in 3D. And what's happening? Okay, nothing. Okay. So I'm going to put this right here. And I'm going to put these 3 videos together on probably this, the Live Music Librarian YouTube channel, which I haven't actually really set up yet, but I'll probably put it on the maybe I'll call that ScatterBrothers channel, so it's like separate from my ScatterBreaker, the Man from 1976 channel. And and I meant to actually, I was going to go through the times that you should cover your kids' eyes if you bring your kids with you. So let me see if I can find those real quick and just go through those first. So yeah, I got all these screenshots, and that's what I'm using partly to do this. But I went to an IMAX showing at 5:30 IMAX showing, and at 5:53 it showed this IMAX logo, and I think it was after that actually there was this thing with Charlize Theron about going to theaters and all that stuff. So so this one was at 5:56. It was already into the movie. So I don't know. Maybe that other thing came up before that, and this was just the final thing before. I can't even remember actually. So so at 5:56, it was already like a couple minutes into the movie, or a minute. Actually, not even a minute into the movie. So so yeah, maybe that thing did happen after that, because it was like 3 minutes, right? 5:53 to 5:56, and then at 6:02 it was on a big scene that you don't want to miss. So I'll be talking about like where you can leave before that, so that you don't miss that 3D scene, but also so you don't miss the first 3D scene. You definitely want to be on time for this one. So especially if you're looking for 3D, but even just if you're trying to do a big screen thing. And then at about 6:08, a little bit before that, a TTYL starts again. So you could leave for a while, at least for 2 minutes, until 6:10, which is a scene you see on the preview with Wong and, is it Stargirl and Doctor Strange, like looking down at the camera, because they're looking down at something that you probably want to see on the big screen, and you might have to actually cover your kids' eyes on that part. So that would be about 10 minutes into the movie, and that'd be right after they're at the thing, and he says, prove that you're from another, or that this dream really did happen, kind of thing. I don't think that's a spoiler, really. Not if you've seen it up to this point, anyway. And they talk some more. So yeah, even this TTYL would go on until like 6:11, and then you would definitely want to be back by 6:12. I mean, so actually by 6:12, I mean if it was a 5:30 showing. A showing that started at 5:55 probably. So about 17 minutes into the film, you want to be back for this kind of sweet scene, but that, well, I don't want to say too much, actually. And let me just skip ahead real quick. I had done a stream yesterday, and I was actually, unfortunately, I was having to like kind of go through it at that time. at 6:16, I realized that I had gone into the restroom with it, and I wasn't sure how much was showing, so so I unpublished that video. And then, yeah, I didn't want to get like in trouble, you know. So I unpublished it, and then at about 32 minutes in, it looks like there was something to. I can't even tell what this picture is. It's in 3D, and it's oops. Oh yeah, I know what that is. Oh yeah, and I know what the other one is too. So yeah, about 30 minutes in, as they're covering. Oh, so this will be a little bit of spoiler. So close your ears for a second if you're on the live stream. Um, about 32 minutes into it, when they're covering puddles in the Sanctum Sanctorum, when I'll just call her Stargirl, when she gets to the point where she's kind of starting to look into a puddle, like cover your kid's eyes, maybe, because there's kind of like a scene there where it'd be like, oh, that's kind of scary, you know. Even though it's not actually something that's scary, it's just like scary in terms of circumstance, you know, like how you're seeing it, you know. And then right after that, there's another kind of long drawn out scene where I don't even want to say who it is. The enemy is returning from their prison, and the way that it happens, you might want to cover your kid's eyes for that. So that's about a minute. That's about 10 seconds after that other one where you should probably cover your eyes for that quick little scene. And then 35 minutes in, I can't even tell what these pictures are actually. That's kind of crazy. And it's partly that it's the blurriness of the 3D. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna say, that this is where you want to definitely be watching. Yeah, at 35 minutes in, you definitely want to see that in 3D for sure. And if not 3D, you want to see it on the big screen anyway. So about 35 minutes, and it goes for another couple minutes till about 6:31 and a half. So by my count, that would be about. I'm just going to assume that this showing started at 5:55. This 5:30 showing started at 5:55. So this would be about 36 minutes, 36 and a half minutes in. Then they sort of talk again, but you still kind of want to see this scene, at least on the big screen, but in 3D, of course, is always better, right? And then at and so they're in an it's a multiverse, and that they're going to travel through the multiverse at some point in this movie, right? So they are in a different land, and so it would be good to see a different kind of universe, and so it'd be good to see that, where they find this statue of and there's a I'm not even gonna say, and there's a thing that if you want to know what it is, I've got a picture, or I can tell you exactly like what that plaque said, because they don't actually have it up long enough to read it real quick, and also your kids, if they don't read or can't read whatever, then, or at least they can't read fast or big words or whatever, then you kind of have to tell them what it says, right? But I think Dr. Strange might actually read it out loud, so yeah, maybe you don't even need to see it. And then there's a stressful scene right there, like a kind of tension building scene after that, so you kind of want to be there. That's about let's see, that's 3. Oh, this is all 3 minutes later, like, yeah, so 3 minutes after that big scene I said you should be there for. And then there is a TTYL right here, but I don't know if I have the information for that, as far as being able to tell you what happens while you're you're gone, but it's a cool little environment, so it's kind of cool to be there. That's about 45 minutes in. And then 46. Yeah, it kind of gets back into like a cool scene that you want to see on the big screen right there. So I don't think there's a whole lot of time to leave at this particular part of the movie. And yeah, at about 47 minutes in, you want to be there. It's not really a great 3D scene, but it's kind of cool to see on the big screen, even though it's kind of a big face kind of scene. The way that they're warping, the warping of the image is kind of cool. And then after this, about 48 minutes in, is a really cool 3D scene actually, and it's kind of scary. It's the sound is scary, so you might just want to prepare your kids for like the sound is going to be creepy. Like it's going to be like it's really cool actually how Sam Raimi does it, and like with kind of voices and like demonic sounds, So it's kind of really cool, but also like there's a staircase involved where you're looking through the slats, and it's like really cool, like kind of an interesting use of 3D in that way. I found that Sam Raimi did a lot of like staircase 3D kind of things, but for the most part, this movie was all kind of window 3D. Like it was all kind of things that are moving back into space and not so much things that are moving towards you. You know what I mean? But something apparently happened at 52 minutes in, but I got a total blank screen on that, or black screen on that. So, and then then the next shot I have is actually 10 minutes later. So, so at 7:02 for a 5:30 showing, which presumably started at 5:55. If they do it on kind of like a 5 or 10 minute mark, I imagine that they probably would, but I don't totally know. I feel like that 5:56 shot was like just a minute in, maybe, but it could have started at 5:56, So, so yeah, after this really cool, yeah, I think your kids could probably see this part, and I think it's probably okay for all kids, necessarily. I mean, and they made it PG-13, but still, there's some real creepy things. I don't know how they got away with it in a way, It's all kind of like psychological stuff, So then there is it's pretty much from then on, like it looks like it's pretty much action, like tension building scenes, and then at 7:05 for 5:30, so 1 hour and 5 plus 5, 1 hour and 10 minutes in, as the enemy is talking to this group of superheroes that you see in this other multiverse. I don't even want to say their name because I don't know if that's a spoiler or whatever. But about, if you set your timer for 1 hour and 10 minutes, then, or maybe even 1 hour and 9 minutes, then you know that something's coming up. You're going to want to cover your kids' eyes, just because of what happens. It's not all that gory, really, but and it kind of depends on if they understand what happens. But it's kind of crazy, and then something immediately happens right after this that also you'd probably want to just keep their eyes closed, So about an hour and 9 minutes in, as the enemy is talking to these four, and the enemy says, "What mouth?" At that point, cover the kid's eyes. And then right after that, pretty much 10 seconds after that, you're going to want to cover him for a pretty prolonged time because of how one character's demise happens. And then after that, it's action. So like 1 hour and 12 minutes in is a cool like big action scene, and then if your kids are okay with somebody's neck getting snapped or whatever, um, like that kind of violence or whatever, where that it's I don't know. It's I guess your kids or whatever. So, um, but you might have to worry about that around um, an hour and 15 minutes in, an hour and um, actually about an hour and 20 minutes in. About uh, I can't even talk about the characters actually, because I don't want to give any spoilers about like what characters show up. Uh, but there is I'll just say this: the way that a certain mindscape scene ends, where everything's white and it's, yeah, I don't want to say too much. I don't know. But just be prepared. And that's as violent as that ends. So like, oh yeah. But then there's really good 3D scenes. Like when the portals are open, it's like really cool tunnels, like you're like going back into space actually. Like so, it's more like this way, not that way, right? And so this is like definitely want to be in theater at 20. Let's see, an hour and 23 minutes in, for sure. In fact, you want to be in for all of this, really. I just was also talking about like where to cover your eyes or whatever. And then there was this one scene. Oh yeah, like you definitely want, if you're a Sam Raimi fan, you definitely want to be there exactly. Assuming this starts at 55, you want to be there exactly 1 hour and 25 minutes in. You want to see something that's happening or something that's featured on the screen at that time. And then just 30 seconds later or 20 seconds later than that, I actually took a screenshot because this was one where I felt like, oh man, this tree that's in the foreground is going, it's like kind of winding away from us as we see the characters pass by behind it. Where, well, you know what? Actually, now that I think about it, what I was thinking was that they were walking away, and that he could have reversed this shot, and the tree would have been coming toward like that, like boom, right, right in your eye, kind of thing. And then you could see the characters walking towards or whatever. So that would have been kind of cool. But there was a lot of missed opportunities on like pop outs, things that are coming out at you in 3D. But yeah, an hour and 26 minutes in, you still want to be in 3D, like, yeah. And then there is a TTYL here where if you wanted to take your kids, there was a cool, really tunnel like 3D effect and big screens kind of scene at like an hour and 28 minutes in. But and in the scene that happens, you wouldn't have to cover your kid's eye if you take them out. But at the same time, I don't know if I have this where I can actually give you it as a TTYL to like leave. But it's a Doctor Strange that you see in the preview, so it's not really like a spoiler that I can actually do this TTYL without giving any spoilers necessarily, except what they're saying, basically. Which is kind of a cool like thing, that kind of a twist that happens, whatever. And but something that appears is really kind of unnatural, and you might want to like cover your kid's eyes at an hour and 30 minutes in. I mean, hour and, well, pretty much as you're starting to see that this is a bad thing, or a bad situation that Doctor Strange has gotten himself into. Right at the end of that, you might want to cover your kid's eyes for the shock of it, but at the same time, it's still something they're going to see later too, you know. And also they talk for a while with this, so cover real quick, and then just determine whether your kid can handle this, I guess. Um, then 20, um, like 32 minutes in, you still want to be big screen, you know, definitely big screen. And just before the 1 hour and 32-minute mark, oh yeah, that's a scene. Actually, yeah, you definitely like would want to uncover your kid's eyes if you want them to see this in 3D. There's a really awesome, like, kind of, and actually, depending on the theater you go into, there's like really cool, like, pop out kind of like 3D at this point, I would say. It worked better at Palladium IMAX in San Antonio, better than the AMC, but overall, I'd say that the AMC IMAX was better as a presentation of this 3D, you know, Doctor Strange movie. So, but yeah, at about 32, yeah, 1 hour and 32 minutes in, you might want to cover your kid's eyes for like a scene that is very a sudden kind of violent death scene, I guess you could say. So, um, and then it was at about 20, no, 30, right after that, 33 minutes in, 1 hour and 33 minutes in, I should say, um, that I took my leave, and I totally missed a really cool like 3D scene at one of the showings that I went to. I thought, oh, I can do this. He'll just be climbing or whatever, but that's not so. It was actually, it skipped between. Well, actually, I don't know. 20, 30, 35. 1 hour and 35 minutes in. There's a really cool 3D scene. I'll just say that. And 1 hour and 36 minutes in, you might want to prepare your kids, I guess, in a way for, like, if they're not okay with seeing a dead body, or an animated dead body, I should say, you might want to prepare them for that, right? Um, and about 30, an hour and 36 minutes in, maybe you'd want to like cover their eyes for the initial, um, you know, view of this thing, you know. But it's a cool Sam Raimi moment, actually. Like, and like the way that whole scene is used is a cool, like, thing. And actually, like, I asked my kid, like, would you be okay with like what looks like skeletons with horns painted black and coming right at you, like right up to your face, like, you know, because it's kind of like an iffy movie to take your kids to. Like, it's kind of like, I don't know. But my knees are hurting. Okay, so yeah, I was gonna do this in the backyard, but I was afraid of getting like bit by mosquitoes a lot, and also I don't want to don't have any kind of like good background there. Not that this is a great background, but I was like, I just need to do this first 15 thing and just prepare a background for it later, you know, like, um, but yeah, about 40 minutes in, an hour and 40 minutes in, yeah, it's really cool, like 3D actually. Um, now, yeah, and yeah, I think you just want to keep in that theater if you can at this point, and then yeah, actually this is nearing the end anyway, so um, For a similar thing that you might want to wanted to cover your kid's eye for earlier, or eyes for, I should say, at about 1 hour and 55 minutes in, um, as Steve, like Doctor Strange, is walking down the street, and he starts to like, seems like hear like heavy metal like guitar actually. um, as it zooms in on his face, you might want to cover your kid's eyes for the initial shock kind of thing. And then the credits and really good 3D effects. I mean, it wasn't actually the greatest in sequence as far as like 3D effects goes, but they start at an hour and 55 minutes in. Um, so about 10 minutes from the end of the thing, the actual movie, and then there are some actually kind of creepy like visuals in this scene as well. So just beware of that. Um, in fact, I got one at 7:50, like right before this one. Like this kind of involves skeletons, so if your kids aren't that scared though. But the thing before that was like a different kind of creepiness. It was like a weird dysmorphia body kind of like mixing up things. So your kids might not even notice it. They might even not even be paying attention at this point. Um, but that's like about maybe a minute after the credits started. So um, yeah, pretty much exactly a minute after the credits started. I saw something that looks kind of like, oh, I don't know how the kids would feel about that. But yeah, and then the final title sequence at seven. I mean, at 1 hour and 56 minutes in, and then of course there is like the initial post credit scene that happens before the full like list of credits happens. Um, that's it. So don't leave. In other words, um, it's kind of an interesting thing that happens, and what you covered your kid's eye for a few minutes before will actually happen again here. So if you don't think they would have a problem with that initial thing, then they wouldn't have a problem with this one either. And that goes until like an hour and 57 minutes in. Then there's the credits, and then there is the final post-credit scene that occurs at about 2 hours and 5 minutes in, actually. Like right as it's about to end, there's probably like ends at 2 hours and 6 minutes. So, um, yeah. And then after that, I don't have any other screenshots. But at this point, so this was all like stuff I'm gonna edit to kind of like give an idea, maybe try to create like some kind of like timers, at least for myself. And if anybody else is interested in such a thing, I could try to do something where you could have a series of timers that goes off to kind of remind you of when you might be about to have to cover your kid's eyes. So, and actually, just real quick, I'm going to just do this just to kind of give it a little bit of a difference. This is the ScatterBreaker, the Man from 1996 speed, and this is the screen recording I'm doing on this other computer that I'm going to be mixing with all three of these. And so now at this point is going to be the actual TT. Well, the first 15 and TTYL. I'll designate those as I go. But basically, if you haven't seen this movie yet, you don't know whether you're running late yet, you'll want to watch this later, not now, because there will be spoilers. So, in fact, I'm going to tell you exactly what's happening, at least verbally in the scenes. in the sense that it's like the way that I do TTYLs or first 15, I'm going to be kind of vague about action and that sort of thing, because I'm going to recommend that you get here on time, get to the movie on time, and definitely catch the first scene, especially in 3D or especially on the big screen. Definitely catch that that first scene, and I'll tell you what, when. Oh, well, actually, as it turns out, yeah, it started at. Oh, okay. So this was this was probably a 3:05 showing, and this is at 3:34 p.m. So so um, this is probably a movie that started exactly at 3:30. Is that right? Could that be right? Man, I wish I'd gotten this right from the start. But anyway, I'll just say, like, so it opens, and I'll give you kind of context cues about when to stop. But at from 3:34, or maybe about a couple minutes into the movie, when Doctor Strange realizes he can't stop this creature, and this is a Doctor Strange from another universe. When he says, I'm so sorry, this is the only way. And so, spoiler alert, it's the beginning of the movie, but it's still a spoiler alert just in case. If you haven't seen it, if you're just running late right now, listen to this. But if you haven't watched it yet, don't. He says, this is the only way. And as he's holding the demon back inside of a spell with one hand, with his other hand, he said, this is the only way, pulling her power. And she says, what are you doing? She's kind of floating up in the air, and her power is coming out of her chest into his hand. And he says, I can't let that thing take your power. Oh, he says, I'm so sorry. This is the only way. And then he's pulling the power out of her chest. I can't let that thing take your power. You can't control it, but I can. She says, but we're friends, and you're killing me. He says, I know. But in the grand calculus of the multiverse, your sacrifice is worth more than your life. And I won't really say what happens here, just in case you haven't seen it. I don't want to like ruin anything. But yeah, he the demon is starting to win, and she sees this book shining on a pedestal beyond all of these tentacles, which is why you really want to see this in 3D too, and or just on the big screen because it's a huge creature. And she's running towards it. The creature has kind of defeated Doctor Strange already, and now the creature has her by spread eagled, all four limbs, and she freaks out and she opens this portal behind her that's shaped like a star. Doctor Strange is on the ground and looks and creates this like sort of spell where he can throw the and breaks the thing's tentacles, and she gets sucked into that vortex, and then his body gets sucked into the vortex, which then shifts around to like a rotating view, which is really kind of cool to see. So it's better to catch this on the big screen if you can. To our Doctor Strange waking up, or 616 is Doctor Strange. Waking up, he looks at this broken watch on the bedside, and he gets up. He ties his tie with using magic. Like, it's kind of cool to see. Now at this point, it is 3:36, and there's a big screen worthy moment, I would say, here, where you see like a like a church, you know. And so it's kind of cool to see that on the big screen. You could leave right after this, and this will be the TTYL. So as soon as you see him like walking into this church, sitting down, people are looking at him all, you know, like he's a celebrity. You know? He moves into the bench. So let's see, this is 2 minutes into where I started, but probably about 3 or 4 minutes into the actual movie, right? And so you see the church 2 minutes and 10 seconds into my recording, basically. All we missed before all that was them running from that creature through really cool scenery. So now he's sitting down at the pew, straightens his tie, and now this is where at the end you see this guy's credit, but this is the only scene he's in for the whole movie. So it's like you'll see who I'm talking about at the end if you miss this part, but it's the doctor from the first one that he kind of had a rivalry with. So he comes in and sits down next to him at the pew. Doctor Strange, Dr. West, Doctor Strange says. I haven't seen you in a while, Dr. West says. I was a little occupied being dust there for 5 years. And then Dr. West says, so we're a lot of us. Dr. Strange looks at him. While I was gone, thank you for asking, Dr. West says. I lost both of my cats. And my brother. And it's kind of a funny scene, so if you want to, you always catch this on the small screen there. I'm very sorry, Dr. Strange says. Dr. West, thank you. I guess what keeps me up at night, keeps me wondering, what keeps me up is wondering, did it have to happen that way? Was there any other path? As Dr. Strange looks at him sideways, they're sitting next to each other. So Dr. Strange says, I made the only play we had. Dr. West says, oh, of course you did. Best surgeon and the best superhero. Nods. And I think he says, at least you didn't get the girl. I think that's what he says here. It's hard to tell. I listened to it many times and I could not completely work it out, but I mean, that would be a horrible thing to say to somebody, but I mean, I guess they did have a rivalry. So now at this point, the wedding march comes on. Dr. Strange looks a little like it's kind of you want to see these expressions and stuff, but you can always catch this on a smaller screen later, right? They stand, and it's Christine walking down the aisle. He looks at her. She doesn't seem to look at him, but he follows her all the way down. It kind of focuses on his face. And then it skips to she and her husband dancing. Doctor Strange watching, looking a little dejected. And this is now 3:38, so that would be about 3. Oh well, actually, this is about 4 minutes into this recording. So about 2 minutes and 30 seconds into this TTYL. Yeah, because it was at 2 minutes. 2:10. Okay. $2:10 to now I left during this time and I was able to come back. Okay, so 2:10 to, so there's been 2 minutes now. So if you've only gone 2 minutes, then you haven't missed anything. 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Up to what I've described so far. He's at the bar. He's drinking his martini. Christine comes up in her wedding dress. Clears her throat. Glass of red, please. Dr. Strange says, allow me, miss. And turns her water into wine. Then says, a little on the nose. And Christine says, for you at my wedding? It's perfect. He says, congratulations. They clink glasses. She said, And something about Charlie. There's Charlie. I have to introduce you because he's kind of, it's embarrassing, but he's kind of a big fan. And then Dr. Strange says, Christine, and stops her, says, I wish I had been different. I never stopped caring about us, but I had to make sacrifices to protect you. I'm sorry. Christine looks at him. It was never going to work out between us. Why not? He says. Because, Stephen, you have to be the one holding them up. And I've always respected you for it. I couldn't love you for it. He sighs. It's something about a barrel. Actually, so hopefully you're back by now because I don't know what he said there. Alright, let's see. Gotta find my place again. Oh, okay, so. You have to be the one holding it. And I respect you for it, but I couldn't love you for it. How long have you been over the barrel? I'm not really sure what he says here. How am I gonna get that one in the barrel? And she said a long time. I have no idea what they're talking about. Hopefully you're back by now because he says, truly, I'm just glad you're happy. I am, she says. I really, truly am. Are you? And he says, I'm happy. She says, you deserve it. This is a two-face scene, like two-person scene. So it's a good TTYL. You get the information and then you come back. At this point, 3, 4, or actually, this is 4 minutes and 6 seconds after that church. If you saw the church before he left and you saw him like walking down the aisle in his suit and tie, then it's been 4 minutes now. You probably had enough time to maybe, if they're not too slow, get popcorn or whatever. And you want to be back right now for sure. So I'm going to try to make this quicker so that I can say everything. I'm going to try to edit these videos so that I can say everything so that you be able to watch it and be back by this time. Or, listen to what I was, what happened while you were gone. But it's definitely a good big screen scene at this point, 4 minutes after the church. So your kid needs to go to the restroom, tell him to go, let's go now, and then you can listen to this video. this TTYL, this first 15 thing. So after this, you just got to see it. It's better that I don't even describe it. He conjures a monster to like eat a car, and Stargirl is there. She runs into a bus, and this invisible force is like crushing it. He makes it reveal a cyclopean octopus-like figure or creature, huge, gigantic. Tears apart the bus with some kind of magic spell kind of thing or whatever, and uses a piece to cut off the creature's arm. Actually, maybe I shouldn't be describing all this. I'll just basically he saves the girl from the bus, and then you see this scene in the preview actually, where the creature throws the bus at him, and he conjures up that blade to like cut it in half. You've seen that on the preview though. So I guess I should say it's. Oh, and then he recognizes her from the dream. It's a kind of a cool scene to see actually. So you should check that out. It's now 5 minutes since the church scene. She runs from the creature. I think it would be a good idea to set an alarm for actually when that next TTYL will be. I'll let you know what to set your alarm for at the time that you see the church. If you want to catch all that with the if you want to see your husband or whatever and you want to stay in there for that, there will be another TTYL with characters you already know and subtitles. So, oh yeah, there were some subtitles before actually, but it was during a scene you want to definitely see on 3D at the very beginning. So, where they're speaking Spanish, the other Doctor Strange and her. Some funny things that happen, like trying to wake up Doctor Strange from being knocked out, and I'll just let you see that. Oh, the creature reaches out for her as his cape lifts her. The creature throws a motorcycle and releases the cape, and she falls on a ledge up atop the building. So really cool big screen scene and 3D scene as well. This is now It's now 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Doctor Strange and Wong are standing side by side, throw their mystical chains at the creature and start to get dragged by it up the building to where Stargirl's on the ledge. I think it's Stargirl. Maybe it's Marvel Girl or something. I don't know. She definitely has these star abilities, star-shaped abilities. He throws a spell up the chain toward the creature's tentacle that's reaching for her, and at this point, you do see her husband. So he comes out with Christine on the ledge to look at what's happening at the building across the street. Oh, and this is really cool 3D right here at 10 or 8 minutes and 30 seconds, 20 seconds after that church scene. Definitely want to be there. So now the Cape and Doctor Strange and Wong are still finding the creature, and this is really good 3D. And a really funny thing happens right after this too. So I don't want to even say what it is. I want you to see it. Now it's 9 minutes later, 9 minutes and 6 seconds later, and the creature is defeated. This would be a good TTYL right here. Wong and Doctor Strange. Wong and Doctor Strange are meeting up with Well, they save the girl. Wong says, "Who's this?" Doctor Strange says, "Yeah, I was gonna ask the same thing, the same question. Hey, kid." As she starts to try to run away, and he grabs her arm. "What did that creature want with you?" Wong says, "Where are your parents?" "I'm taking her back to the sanctum," Doctor Strange says, as he tries to make a portal. Then realizes that there's nothing on his fingers, and she ran off, and he says, "She took my singing," as they turn around. Wong says, "She took your singing." It's kind of funny, but she runs from them, turns the corner, and then they're there. He holds out his hand for the slingy. "I'm not going to kill you, kid. I just busted my ass trying to save your life, kid." She gives him back his slingy. "Oh, dang it. I lost my place." "She took my slingy. She took your slingy." Turns the corner. They're there. He holds out. And Wong holds up his slingy to show, "I'm not going to kill you, kid. I just busted my ass trying to save your life, remember?" She gives him back his slingy. "Giant monsters I can clearly handle, but what bothers me is last night you were in my dream." And she says, "That wasn't a dream. It was another universe." Wong and Doctor Strange look at each other. Now that it cuts to a diner, and she says, "How much experience do you have with the multiverse?" "Oh, it wasn't a dream, it was another universe." They look at each other. She says, "How much experience do you have with the multiverse?" And Doctor Strange says, "We had experience with the multiverse. Just most recently, there was an incident with Spider-Man." She said, "What man?" And he repeats, "Spider-Man. He has the powers of a spider." "Hence the name," Wong says. "Gross," she says. "Does he look like a spider?" "No, he climbs walls, shoots webs," Doctor Strange says. Oh, Wong said, "Climbs walls, shoots webs." And she says, "Out of his butt." So it's kind of... Actually, I'm kind of confused about who's saying what in this. Oh, and Doctor Strange said, "Yeah, bingo," after he says, "Climbs walls, shoots webs." And after she says, "Out of his butt?" "Out of his butt?" "No." "Well, maybe, I don't know. Honestly, I hope not," he says. Doctor Strange says. Oh yeah, there was one thing that wouldn't be good for this as a TTYL, but you can always catch it later. It's like the way that he answers their questions. Oh, that's right. When he saves her, he opens a portal and then grabs her arm. "Hey, kid," you know. He opens a portal from the ledge to the street, so that's kind of cool to see in 3D. But so at 11:30 on this video. So far, it's been a minute. After he grabs her arm and says, "Hey, kid, where are you going?" There, there's like so 1 minute of a TTYL basically. Did I say let's start at 11:30? Yeah. she says, so weird, and she's eating, and he said, Doctor Strange says, you're going to get a stomach ache. And she says, I'm from another universe. How do you know my stomach works the same as yours? And he says, I don't. I don't even know if you're from another universe, which is why I'm still sitting here waiting for you to enlighten us. Then she says something in Spanish. Let me see. So this is where your kids would have to be able to read quickly. Oh, I might not have gotten the subtitles on here. Of all the Doctor Stranges I've met, you're not my favorite. He doesn't speak Spanish? I don't think he enjoys speaking English very much, Wong says to her in Spanish. And then this is where I said it'd be cool to see, for you to see, like how he answers these questions, because it's real quick. And I almost didn't even want to try to attempt this on a TTYL. So after she says, of all the Doctor Stranges I've met, in Spanish, of all the Doctor Stranges I've met, you're not my favorites. And she said all that in Spanish, and he says, which means, she looks at Wong and says, he doesn't know Spanish? And Wong replies, I'm not sure he even enjoys speaking English. And he tells her that in Spanish, so it's in subtitles. She laughs. And Doctor Strange says, I left a very nice wedding to save a smart-ass kid from eaten by an octopus. And Wong says, whose wedding? And Doctor Strange says, Christine's. And Wong says, you went? Stargirl says, holy shit, you married Christine? And another lady comes up and says, do you mind? With a camera, like she wants to take a picture with Doctor Strange. And he says, yes, I do. No, I didn't, to Stargirl. And yes, to Wong. And then, that's the thing you want to see, because I can't even explain it properly. You have to see the three people for that to work. And then Doctor Strange goes right back into, you have to tell me what's going on. Why was that octopus trying to eat you? It was trying to kidnap me, she says. It's like a henchman that works for a demon. All we knew is that they wanted to take my powers for themselves. Just a second. What power, he says. I travel the multiverse, she says. He says, what? Wong says, you can physically move from one universe to another? Doctor Strange says, how? And she says, that's the problem, I don't know. I can't control it. It only happens when I'm really, really afraid. Doctor Strange says, okay, did other me know how to defeat this demon? Okay, did other me know how to defeat this? Okay, did other me know how to defeat this demon? Well, I can't exactly tell what she says there. Well, you had to use this magical book of pure good that gives a wizard whatever he needs to defeat his enemies. Doctor Strange says, the book of Shanti? It's not real. It's a fairy tale. It doesn't exist. Wong says, actually it does. I found out in the secret book you get when you become Sorcerer Supreme. Stargirl says, you're not the Sorcerer Supreme? Doctor Strange says, no, I'm not the Sorcerer Supreme. And she says, I thought you were Sorcerer Supreme of this universe. Okay, yeah, he says. And Wong says, although it does exist, the Book of Ashanti is unreachable. And she says, is said to be unreachable. It is. We reached it. Oh, it is, except we reached it. The demon caught up with us, she says. I thought you were protecting me. Oh, you didn't. But you didn't. That was the fight in my dream. Dr. Strange says. And she says, it wasn't a dream. And he says, prove it. Now, this is the point where I was talking about you might want to cover your kid's eyes, maybe. So this is exactly what's... Did that one start at 11? So it's 14:30. Did I say it started at 11? Let me just check the chat. Let's see if anybody's paying attention. So this is exactly what, 3 minutes after? It started at 11. Three and a half minutes, right? $11. Yeah. 11. 11:20. 11. Oh, 11:15 is when he. 11:20 is when she pulls. He pulls her through. 11:20 to 14:30, right? 11:20 to 14. So 11:20 to 14:20 would be 3 minutes, right? So you have about 3 minutes here. If you leave right after he pulls her through the portal. So 3 minutes and 10 seconds is when you want to cover your kid's eye. From the time that wow, this is really complicated. I almost have to put it from the beginning of the movie, really. Like so you can start all your timers at the beginning of the movie, right? But anyway, so this actually really kind of covers the whole first 15 at this point. It's kind of a cool rooftop scene. Okay. Okay. Let me see if we can go back. So, if you wanted to see that scene on the big screen, and you just covered your kid's eyes, which shows the other Doctor Strange's corpse, basically, then it goes back to like two people, 2 shots and 3 shots, and I got you that cool like building scene right there. Like you can start to get up and go. This is... Oh no! Ay, you made me pop, like, mute my video. That cat. Okay, so this is 1440 into this video. Okay, so then it's a close-up of Doctor Strange and Wong. Doctor Strange says, that means dreams are windows into the lives of our multiversal selves. Actually, is this a spoiler? I mean, it's kind of a cool, like, conceptual spoiler, I guess you could say. Maybe I should have said, don't listen to this if you haven't seen it yet. But I think I've already said that. I don't know. And then she turns back and says, that was his theory, pointing at the corpse. Then Wong says, so that recurring nightmare where I'm running naked from a clown? She says, somewhere out there. 1440 was in this room. And it's real, she says. Dr. Strange says, somewhere out there, I had a ponytail. It's a shot back on the corpse and with his ponytail. And Wong says, there could be more creatures coming. There could be more creatures coming for her. Power is dangerous enough in the hands of a kid, Dr. Strange says. What if a real threat acquired it? Then it backs up, and she's kind of backing up, and Wong and Dr. Strange are standing there, and Wong says, it occurs to me, little one. Wait, what does he say? Imagine if a real threat acquired it. It occurs to me, young one, we don't know your name. America Chavez, she says. Miss Chavez, Wong says. Come with us to Camouflage. You'll be safe there. Then back to Sargo. How do you know? How do I know you won't betray me like he did? Pointing at the corpse. Doctor Strange, I guess you're just gonna have to trust me. Goes back to a 3-shot. They look back at the corpse. Wong says, "What are we gonna do with him?" Strange opens up like bricks on top of the roof there that are not really sure. You might want to see that, but he levitates the body into that opening that he creates and then covers it back up with bricks. The creature that killed him, did it have the same markings? Wong is asking. The creature that killed him, did it have the same markings as this? He's asking, as the octopus. Doctor Strange said, runes. Wong says, this wasn't sorcery. Doctor Strange says, it's witchcraft. Wong says, do you know anyone who's faced such a thing? Doctor Strange says, I think I might. Now at this point, you might want to be back because if you didn't catch the whole like moving the corpse into that thing, you'll want to catch this because it's kind of cool how this scene, or not cool necessarily, I guess, but this scene establishes the mood or the idea of certain motivations later. So this, just in case you're still coming into it, it cuts to Wanda at home with her 2 boys, and it's kind of a sweet scene, you know, like she's like making a mixture for cooking something. The kids come in, the boys come in and say chocolate and run in, and it's kind of like got that WandaVision like jingle, you know, like almost that, you know, real nice family time kind of thing. And she says, Hey, what did I say? And then boys say, well, we couldn't wait. And then they take some out of the bowl anyway. And she says, you're in trouble, and then go wash your hands, but in a happy way, like you're in trouble, but in a happy way. And then she's tucking him in, and the boy says, "Mom, come on, let's roll for that." She says, "Oh," and the other kid says, "You can tuck me in, Mom." And she says, "I will." And goes to him and says, "A family is forever. We could never truly leave each other, even if we tried." And the other boy says, "Mom, I'll change my name. You can come tuck me in, too." And she says, "Okay." And then kisses the other one on the forehead. Says, "Love you." And hopefully you're back by now and you can see this, because this transition is really interesting. But this is actually at 17 minutes into this recording. So it kind of depends on when you took your TTYL, really. But you try to avoid missing this scene with Wanda just because it establishes that sense of motherhood. In fact, I almost felt like this is kind of like a Mother's Day movie, actually. So it's kind of funny that it came out around that time, actually. And then it goes to a big screen worthy, kind of like panning into the fields of trees or orchard that you see in the preview, actually. And so oops. And now I'm just doing like a screen, adjusting a screenshot, and I'm hearing the walking. But I think we saw this one in the thing. So I don't think this is a TTYL though. So let me. Yeah, because if you want to see that like panning in scene, we're talking about like not talking about Westview and I Need Your Help and all that. But this is already way past the first 15, so I'm like not wanting to say too much here. Yeah, because you want to catch that other scene, and then you want to see kind of how this plays out. So yeah, you should be back in the screen in the theater by now. And I don't think I do have one more TTYL that I could share. But yeah, it would not be good to miss this. So it's pretty crazy what happens. And the sound on this scene is like also really awesome. Like you got to see it on the big screen. Like you got to see it in the theater with like the sound all around. Okay, so that'll be that. Let's see. So then at 4. Oh yeah, at let's see. So this one. So if you missed that last TTYL where you should try to be back by or like at the point at which they're in the diner. Oops. If you missed that diner scene, 348. 348. So about 349, right? Well, you're not even seeing what I'm talking about. So if the diner scene, like 348, okay, 348 and a half, then set a timer for, at that point, 348 to 414. So it's about 12 plus 14. So about 26 minutes. So about 25 minutes. If you miss the diner scene, about 25 minutes after that, there is another chance for a TTYL here. Where he and the Stargirl are in this other universe. And before all this, you definitely want to be in the theater and catch it in 3D. But about 25 minutes later, they're in this place, and he steps on a little memory thing. So right after you see a good big screen scene of that environment and then across the street and everything, that'd be a good time to maybe take your leave to go get a refill or whatever. And so he steps on this memory thing, and it's kind of interesting to see in 3D, but and kind of maybe cool to see on the big screen too, actually, just because of the whole like, it's like it's a scene that's kind of far away, and it's like, and it's from his memory banks or whatever. And I'm trying to figure out actually if it's from his memory banks or his other multiversal self or something, but I don't really know. They're sitting at a dinner table, and Doctor Strange, or Stephen Strange, and Christine, and he opens a. So let's see. So she says, "I got you a little something," and he gives him a little thing and says, "Congratulations." He says, "What is it?" He opens it. It's a watch. He says, "Christine, this is amazing." I think. Oh, you know what? It's probably not. It's not a good TTYL actually, because then you see her memory too. And considering all the things I just said, like, you probably should try to catch this one. And I'll try to come up with another TTYL. But I'm pretty sure it's better if you take those earlier ones if you can, actually. Any of those earlier ones that I mentioned, especially if you're watching it in 3D. It's pretty nonstop, pretty good 3D after that anyway. So, and even this scene kind of has like a pretty good one. And it's only like a minute, I feel like. Before it's a minute and a half. Let's see. It's somewhat good 3D. Oops. And I'm also walking through a different universe right now, so it's kind of interesting to see. Yeah, if I did make that a TTYL, you'd have to be back at like 2 minutes and 40 seconds or so to catch this big screen worthy moment. At least it's kind of like a panning out or the whole view of that world or whatever. So. Yeah, and 2 minutes and 50 seconds is not very long. So yeah, let me know what you think. I mean, don't base it on the live version, because actually this is probably terrible. But based on the edited version where I put these 3 videos together, let me know what you think of this first 15 thing or TTYL thing, and like, would this be useful to you? Like, let me know in the comments or the chat or whatever. Do you think that this would be something that you could use? And hopefully nobody came in, because I should have maybe said more throughout, like, don't listen to this if you haven't seen Doctor Strange yet. But I should have probably said that more throughout, because I just thought, oh yeah, people could probably come in the middle and then they wouldn't know what I'm talking about, and then they hear a spoiler or whatever. But I think I pretty well avoided spoilers, actually. I don't think I spoiled anything that wasn't already in the preview, at least. Except for some of the concepts, I guess, right? So it wasn't that bad, was it? But let me know what you think. Okay, so first I'm going to end this one. It's there. It's a 1 hour and 25 minutes and 10 seconds. That's correct. Okay, and then I'm going to end YouTube on ScatterBreaker the 9.76 stream, and this, and probably even the Scatter Brothers one, if I can make that a channel on the Live Music Librarian. It's either Live Music Librarian or it'll be Scatter Brothers, like the actual Scatter Brothers YouTube channel, so that I can maybe, say check out ScatterBreaker, and on ScatterBreaker I say check out Scatter Brothers, because sometimes things probably won't work out, Anyway, so I'm gonna end this one at 1 hour 23 and 43 seconds, 44 seconds, 45 seconds, 47 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to end this one now.